Hi, everybody. It's Friday with Sandy. I'm Sandy. We've got a very exciting candidate today. Uh, Joaquin, is that the way you say it?
Yeah, exactly, Joaquin.
Here's a question that often comes up in a Harvard or Stanford interview. Could you introduce yourself to your classmates?
Absolutely. So my name is Joaquin Cancina. I'm from Chile. I'm a proud husband and father of three boys. And before the MBA, I
You've got
worked.
you're the father of three boys. Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. I actually
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Good. Where are you working now?
I'm currently working at McKinsey as a junior engagement manager
And that's McKinsey in Houston.
in the Houston office. Exactly.
And you've been working
Primarily
there
working nonprofit and energy, nonprofit sector and
as a
energy.
junior engagement manager. For
Exactly.
our fans out there who may have heard of McKinsey, what does a junior engagement manager do?
Yes. So a junior engagement manager typically can manage independently its own work and also help other team members with their work. So if you think about a classic consulting team, you're going to have the analysts, usually directed by an engagement manager. They are often dependent on the direction and feedback of the engagement manager. And then they grow into like a senior analyst or a standalone analyst. That means they can do their work on their own, mostly independently.
Okay,
And then
give me the pecking order there at McKinsey. I realize there might be some variance, but you joined as a business analyst,
yes,
and now you're a junior engagement manager.
yes,
Now, you joined them from your family company, so you weren't just a typical. Or did you also join them after you graduated Brigham Young?
I joined after a year and a half in my business,
Okay, so
my family business.
did they treat you as a typical hire? So you went through the normal, uh,
It's
titles and
very
promotion.
similar process, but I'm what you would consider an experienced hire.
Yeah.
But I would be expected to perform exactly as someone out of.
Okay, so you've been at McKinsey for a year and a half. The first 5 months, you were a business analyst, and now you're a junior engagement manager.
It was more like the first 11 months, I was a business analyst. And then I made it. Yeah.
So it's typically like a year or so in the starting position.
I would say it's more like 2 years, 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so so that's interesting. So how unusual is it for someone to have reached your position at McKinsey as quickly as you did?
I don't know the numbers exactly, but I would bet it's like a 90% kind of thing. If 1 in 10 probably does it this fast, then I would say.
No, you're saying that 1 in 10 people who join McKinsey as a business analyst get to be a junior engagement manager as quickly as you? Or are you saying?
I think that's probably accurate.
That's impressive. How did you do it? Hey, folks at home, let's rewind the tape here. This guy joined McKinsey as a business analyst, which is what everybody does. And then he is now in a position called a junior engagement manager, which only 1 out of 10 people do. Okay. That's
that
something.
Quickly. I mean, everyone eventually does it.
that quickly. So how did you do it?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. If I had to isolate a couple factors, I would say first is finding leadership that supports your growth, because they are the ones that eventually offer you the opportunities. But then the next question is,
okay, so that's a fancy way of saying I was a really good networker and I got a little lucky. When I joined McKinsey, I was lucky enough to form a relationship with Joe Blow, who turned out to be a mentor to me. Is that
actually? Yes, absolutely. So basically, because I have kids, and which is very unusual for someone.
I'll say, good point. Yeah.
Because I have kids, I networked heavily and run interviews with leaders that I thought were successful in balancing family and work. And through those interviews, I connected with another.
I'm not understanding this. I understand that having children could be an advantage because you could relate to other young parents at McKinsey.
Yeah.
Are you
So
saying,
basically,
anything different than that?
what I'm saying is I leveraged that. So what I'm saying is that what I actively did was seek out people that I thought were successful at building their families and having a career in McKinsey. You know, McKinsey is a very challenging place. It's very fast paced.
Yeah.
So and the expectations for the work are very high.
Okay, so you networked with family leaders at McKinsey,
Exactly.
and you were shrewd enough, you used the fact that you were a father was helpful in forming relationships. So it gave you kind of a head start, or you turned it into a head start.
It turned into a head start. Then you need to have very solid work habits.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's got that. Yeah. Hey, I'm impressed. And so now you're at McKinsey and you want to go to business school. Now, before McKinsey, you were the general manager of your family business, which is pronounced Axiobase?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so what is that? What is your family business?
So my family business is an IT business located in Santiago, Chile. We have two main lines of products or business units. One is Wi-Fi networks that we install and maintain for large education, energy, and healthcare clients. And the other is a computer business. We have our own brand of computers that we manufacture in China, and then we distribute in Chile.
Under what brand?
It's called Minibox.
And that is your those are your computers, and that's your company?
Yep.
That is made in China. Wow. Can you give me some metrics about the size of the business, what the revenue is, or the number of employees?
Mm-hmm. So it's around 4 million in revenue and 20 employees. So it's a relatively small company.
Well, you're very efficient, or there's a lot of room for growth.
There is.
Or both.
Which is
good.
One of the reasons I want to go back eventually to my family.
Yeah. So so here's the question. What's the roadmap for you after Harvard, after business school?
Yeah, I think there are 3 or 4 steps. 3 or 4 clear steps I want to take after Harvard. The first one is go back to McKinsey. The second one is return to my family.
Is McKinsey sponsoring you?
Yes.
Okay, that's important. That's worth noting on your application and possibly even your resume. That's unusual. Is that highly unusual?
No, it's a
standard.
If you work in McKinsey and you want to go to a top MBA and you're in good standing, meaning you're an average contributor, you will be sponsored. So it's not something special.
So the way it works is they loan you the money, and if you rejoin them, you don't have to pay it back.
Exactly. You have to rejoin them for 2 years.
Yeah, good. They're quite the outfit. So is that your plan?
Yeah, exactly. So for many reasons.
Yeah, you're getting 2 salaries. You're getting the salary they're paying you, and you're getting loan forgiveness. So,
but I would say also the kosher version of that is I'm interested in the associate partner position. That's when you start bringing clients to the firm and getting business. So you start owning client relationships.
And you get increased responsibility, and you can take business initiatives. Yeah, those are all good reasons. You're a totally solid guy. Okay, so then what's your plan?
Then I want to go back to Chile. I want to rejoin my family business and leverage what I've learned at McKinsey and what I will hopefully learn at either HBS or Stanford to take my family business
Okay,
to
but
the
what
next
you're
order.
talking about is 2 years of business school and then 2 years of going back to McKinsey. So
Yeah.
can you wait what will be 5 years to return to your family business?
Yeah, and I think it lands well with when my dad's going to retire.
Good. Okay,
So,
that's good. That's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of things line up for you.
Mhm.
Okay, then what's your plan with? What's the state of the family business now? You said there's 4 million in revenue. You employ 20 people. What's your plan in 4 years for building that out?
Yeah, so I think I was primarily involved with the computer business because it's simpler and it was more operations driven. And what I learned at BYU applied really well there. The other side of the business is professional services, basically. So you're selling expertise, and in turn they buy the equipment and the engineering and the.
Okay, when you say professional services, this is like IT consulting.
Yeah, so basically, let me give an example. Let's say there is a chain of hospitals. This is actually a real example. It's going to build a new hospital, like a new clinic or whatever.
I got it. Yeah, and
right, and they need Wi-Fi coverage, top-notch Wi-Fi coverage in every corner of this new facility. Doing that is not simple, right? It requires special knowledge in engineering. So we will help them decide what's the right equipment.
okay, so a part of your business will be these IT installations.
Exactly, and then it's from conceptualization of the network to the implementation and the maintenance. And we right now we're barely starting to leave out the full cycle, right?
Yeah,
Meaning,
blah blah blah. We got
exactly.
it. Let's move on here.
Okay.
Here's a question that you are frequently asked at business school interviews, particularly Harvard, and also by me. What do you want your Harvard classmates to know about Chile?
Chile. Yeah, absolutely. So what I would want them to know about my country first is the basics, right? Like it's located in South America, right by Argentina, and we're a democracy, and that we've grown as a country quite significantly in the last 30 years. Aside from the basics, what I want them to know.
Well, you haven't told me all the basics yet. This is something you should really prepare.
Okay.
I hope they know where it's located. It's in South America. It's on the even for South America, it's south. It's all below the
most
equator.
Southern tip of the world. It's this long strip of land.
Yeah, that's important. Okay, it's like really south. Okay,
really south. And the thing is, like the fact that it's so long is that
there's two things I want them to know. It's long and it's a coastal country on the lower end of South America, facing the Atlantic. Have I got this right?
In the Pacific, and to the east we have the Andes Mountains, so you could potentially snowboard and surf on the same day.
Yeah. Okay. And how does that figure? And what's the population? What's the form of government? This is just basics.
Yeah.
You've got to get this wrapped down.
Yeah. The population is 18 million. We're a democracy.
When they say, "What do you want your classmates to know about Chile?" You've got to do a wrap. That the first thing you say is, "Well, I hope they know where it is. It is in the southern hemisphere. It's in Latin America." On the whatever side, the Atlantic or Pacific side, it's actually very close, believe it or not, to the South Pole at its southernmost tip, if that's accurate, or whatever. And and its major businesses are what they call, mining or extraction. Its major exports are this and this. Its imports are this or this. It's a stable. You understand? You've got to be able to do that, Rap.
Absolutely.
Very clearly.
I will practice that.
So let's get back to the roadmap. What are you going to do after business school?
After business school, the plan is to
you're gonna work at McKinsey for 2
Exactly.
years to get more experience and clear your loan or debt there. Yeah, indentured. I'll be an indentured servant at McKinsey for 2 years.
For 2 years, absolutely.
And what are you going to do after that?
Then I plan on returning to my family business and helping it get to the next order of magnitude.
Is the business in good shape for you?
It is.
Do you have any brothers and sisters, or?
I have a brother and a sister. My brother.
Are they interested? Yeah, fortunately, they're both interested in computer gaming, so there won't be any blood fights.
True. I do have a sibling with my brother that's working at our company right now.
Okay.
But he's more of a technical guy that's starting to incursion in the commercial side. And
hopefully my brother is interested in he could be the IT expert and I could be the business guy.
Which is kind of how we were raised.
Yeah,
right.
Good. Well, your planning may come true in this case.
I got the Harvard shirt, you got the MIT shirt.
That's a wonderful story, really.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful, wonderful story.
He's a machine learning engineer.
Good. Okay, but you haven't taken the GRE yet, or
no?
You've taken the practice tests, and
I've taken a couple, more than a couple. Yeah.
Okay, and the scores on this, in terms of percentiles, what are you getting in both the quant and the verbal?
I don't know exactly, but I'm getting a 164 in quant and 160 in verbal. The median for HBS is 163 on both. So I would say I'm on the ballpark, and I expect to get even a little bit more when I actually take the test next week.
Yeah. Sandy's advice about those tests.
To get the highest score you can.
Keep taking them.
Keep taking it. Yeah.
They don't care. The schools just want the number. Like if your actual score turned out to be 164, 160, and you say, well, that's kind of the median score, I would say take it again.
Okay.
It's the best 3 hours you will ever spend, my friend.
Let's say I actually I do even worse than my practice test, and I have a below average.
Yeah, then there's no question, and it's real easy. Then you not only take it again, but
there is no more time, because we're 1 month away from the. I'm just trying to push a scenario where okay, my best effort was like a lower score. Well, should we recommend waiting to round 2 next year? What do you think? My other attributes.
I think you're very attractive. Okay, I think you're better off applying twice. I would apply. If you get rejected, it's no big deal. It's just a lot of grief.
Then next year. Okay.
Also, and then I would keep taking it.
One thing I could mention is that historically, for my case, standardized tests have not been a good predictor, neither of my academic success or professional success. Like I took the ACT and I got.
Yeah, you could mention that. You should make out a case for that. My GRE score is not predictive of my success at Harvard Business School. And you put in all those facts. You just make a case. You go, for instance, I did this when I took this standardized test. And then when I enrolled in the program, I was in the top 10% of the program, but in the bottom half of the standardized test.
Yeah, which is actually true. I was probably 30th percentile on my ACT, and
to the extent you can document it, you just make a case. Yeah. It helps. I think you're going to do great. You've got a lot going for you. I think your chances of getting into HBS and Stanford. You've got some very attractive stuff. Do you have could you give me a presentation of how you plan to build out your family business?
How I plan to build it out? Yes, absolutely. So right now, I think the biggest opportunity lies in structuring the commercial approach to how we sell, building to on like the capabilities of salespeople.
Okay, let me give you a hint here.
Okay.
Get this wrapped down, okay? Because you don't have it down.
Yeah.
It's real important. If they asked, if that was the first interview question and you gave that answer, you'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I bet.
Good. Okay, so you really have, it's one thing to know it inside your head. It's another thing to start articulating.
Articulate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So my parting advice is nail that down.
Yeah,
okay?
and well, maybe in my head there is a lot of uncertainty of what's going to happen in the next 4 to 5 years before I return. So I haven't really thought about that super deeply, but I'm going to take the advice. I'm going to craft these. At least
so what you're saying
strong
is,
answer.
I'm having a hard time giving a business school answer because the reality is there's a lot of turmoil. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in a way, like we are in a very unstable political environment. The economy is tanking right now.
Okay.
But
Well, you should say one of the things, if the environment remains stable and pro-Western and pro-capitalist, here's
this would
what
be my plan.
Yeah. You should mention, when they say, what do you want your classmates to know about Chile? You should mention the fact that the political situation can be volatile and has been.
The classic question is, what are the odds?
Your odds of being interviewed are very high with a median GRE score. They like people from Chile. They like family businesses. You've got a wonderful record here. You've got a lot going for you. So I'd say your odds of being interviewed are 40, 50 or so percent. And if you do a sterling application, you could make that higher. Great talking to you. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you.
I expect to see you here next year. Okay. Or in Palo Alto, however they say that.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye-bye.